It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, April 16th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Clouds this morning, sunshine this afternoon. This is going to be one of the hottest days we've had this year. The high 89. Tonight and overnight, partly cloudy, low 67. And then Friday, sun and clouds, high 79. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 69 and cloudy in New Rochelle up in Westchester, 70 and cloudy in Patterson over in New Jersey, and it's 72 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
Doormen vote to walk off the job. SantaCon may have really been a total con. 2 NYPD cops pulled off duty after a liquor store beatdown. Is it okay to harass a Jewish pizza parlor owner about what's happening in Israel? And New Jersey wants FIFA to pay for soccer fans to get to and from the Meadowlands. Good luck with that. 501, 2 NYPD narcotic detectives now on modified duty today following a brutal caught-on-camera liquor store beatdown that took place in Cypress Hills, Brooklyn. That's a little bit of what it sounded like. They were kicking, punching, and dragging a man through the BK Wine store on Hoyt Street. I'm sorry I said Cypress Hills. It's in Cobble Hill. That video's gone viral, and the detectives were ordered to surrender their guns and shields yesterday. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch described the footage as deeply disturbing, says the NYPD Internal Affairs Department is investigating.
This matter is under internal review by our Internal Affairs Bureau, and we'll have more to say about it as that investigation unfolds. But I understand the community interest in it because it is an upsetting video.
So it turns out this bloodied man, 46-year-old Timothy Brown, was not the person they were after. He simply had gone to the store to buy wine when he was cornered by these police officers and pummeled. Now, one of the police unions says the man caught in the fight would have been better off if he just not resisted arrest, and that they will wait until all the facts come in to decide whether the officers in the video are in the wrong. We are going to hear a little bit later this morning after 5:30 from some of the eyewitnesses to this video and the person who actually shot the video. That coming up after 5:30. 5:02, unionized building workers here in the city. They have voted to strike as they fight for higher pay and health coverage with zero premiums. At a rally in Manhattan yesterday, local 32BJ union official Manny Precise says doormen, porters, and supers can't keep pace with the cost of living in the Big Apple with the way their salary is right now.
Right now, we aren't even close in bargaining. We're nowhere on wages. They're trying to make our members pay more for health insurance when we're trying to make it so our members can afford to live in the city.
Yeah, so the Realty Advisory Board, which would make the decisions here, contending that building owners have been pinched and they can't afford to pay these workers anymore.
On Wednesday, the union representing more than 34,000 doormen and women, supers, porters, and other building workers voted to approve a strike. The current deal expires at midnight Monday, so a strike could hit as early as Tuesday morning. The workers want more money and to keep their health insurance fully paid for. Building owners say that doubles their labor costs. More than 1.5 million New Yorkers could be impacted. The union's last strike lasted 12 days in 1991. In New York, I'm Andrew Whitman.
There was a major gang takedown in Brooklyn. Brooklyn DA Eric Gonzalez says 36 alleged gang members from 2 rival gangs in Brownsville facing hefty indictment now.
And that proximity to each other and this long-standing feud has fueled so much of the violence in Brownsville for generations.
The investigation called Crossfire because several community members were caught in the middle with a total of 11 people shot, 1 killed. Meantime, Gonzalez announcing yesterday the Restore Brownsville program, which will serve as an early intervention to reach young people, convince them to drop their guns, live a productive life.
And the reason for that is that in a lot of these shootings, the gangs were shooting back and forth at each other. And as a result, many of these shootings took place where there were young children in playgrounds, in the neighborhood. They were bystanders. And I think that when these young men finally have some other ambition other than being a leader in the gang, whether it's to get back in school or get a job for the first time, and they actually have something to lose, they'll make better decisions. They have skin in the game in their lives that are not simply going to jail or dying.
Yeah, hopefully that program works. 505, a Brooklyn man being held without bail. Now, following the arraignment of the murder of a baby girl in a drive-by shooting.
The Brooklyn DA says 21-year-old Amori Green chose to settle a dispute with gunfire. The result? Bullets flew into a crowd on a corner in East Williamsburg, killing 7-month-old Kaori Patterson Moore in her stroller and wounding her 2-year-old brother. Green has pleaded not guilty to murder and other charges. He's being held without bail. The DA says on a beautiful spring day a few weeks ago, Green showed no regard when he opened fire from the back of a moped. The alleged operator of that moped, Matthew Rodriguez, has also pleaded not guilty. In New York, I'm Sean Adams.
505, let's go now to Washington. White House says there's been no formal extension of the ceasefire with Iran. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt dismissing reports that say there are. And she told reporters yesterday that negotiations with Iran are ongoing.
So I saw some reporting, again, bad reporting this morning, that we had formally requested an extension of the ceasefire. That is not true at this moment. We remain very much engaged in these negotiations, in these talks.
Yeah, she says no official announcement on any new in-person talks have been made yet.
We feel good about the prospects of a deal. The president mentioned that in his interview yesterday. And it's obviously in the best interest of Iran to meet the president's demands. I think he's made his red lines in these negotiations very clear.
The current ceasefire, it is set to expire next week. Iran threatening to shut down key Middle East shipping lanes if the U.S. naval blockade that's been in place for, 4 days now at Strait of Hormuz is not lifted. More on that from correspondent Tony Waterman.
In a statement carried on state media, a top military official says Iran will halt all shipping in the Persian Gulf, the Sea of Oman, and the Red Sea if the U.S. blockade continues and creates economic insecurity for the country. These waterways are among the most critical energy choke points in the world. The threat comes amid signals from Washington that face-to-face peace negotiations could resume in the coming days.
And President Trump says that when it comes to those high gas prices due to the war in Iran, he says it likely could be the same, maybe a little bit higher by the midterms. Now, experts say that is not good news for Republicans running for office.
I think it is a problem. Right now, economy is the number one issue for everyone.
GOP strategist Vinny Minchillo says that voters are turned off by talk about foreign diplomacy right now. Kevin Hassett, who leads President Trump's Economic Council, said this week, while it's very frustrating at the pump, the benefit for oil producers in Texas could be significant.
I really think the midterms are going to turn on how everybody feels about the economy. People here at the grassroots level are worried about the economy, and they feel like Washington is spending a lot of time talking about foreign policy.
WABC News Time 509. A majority of American farmers say they won't be able to purchase enough fertilizer this year due to the war in Iran.
That's according to a new survey from the American Farm Bureau Federation that found 70% of farmers said fertilizer is too expensive. There are differences by region, with 80% of southern farmers saying they can't afford it, compared to just under 50% in the Midwest. Since the start of increased tensions in the Middle East, fertilizer prices have gone up 30%. I'm Matt Mattinson.
Yeah, majority of that fertilizer coming from overseas. Democratic support for blocking the sale of weapons and bulldozers to Israel is apparently growing by the day.
Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders, who caucuses with Democrats, pushed another effort Wednesday to cut off military aid for Israel. It was rejected by the Republican majority, but 40 senators voted for the bulldozer ban and 36 voted to stop the sale of bombs. Last April, only 15 supported similar measures. Sanders said the shift reflects where the American people are when it comes to Israel and how tax money is being used. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Of course, we're involved in that conflict in the Middle East, but now the Pentagon is said to be building up for possible military operations in Cuba.
According to reports from USA Today, the military is quietly preparing for the move in case President Trump gives a directive to intervene. The action would appear to be an escalation of tension between the two nations that was sparked in January when the Trump administration blocked oil shipments to the island. Earlier this week, President Trump also told USA Today we may stop by Cuba after we're finished with this, when referring to the ongoing conflict with Iran. I'm Mark Mayfield.
From Cuba all the way over to Los Angeles, the county sheriff's department there opening an investigation now into a rape allegation against former Congressman Eric Swalwell. The alleged victim's attorney, Lisa Bloom, believes any potential charges could stand up in court.
I do think there's enough for a criminal case. That's not my decision. That's the LA County District Attorney's decision. They have to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. So our job is to be helpful. Our job is to answer all of their questions.
Officials say the case involves that model Lana Drews, who came forward this week, who alleges she was assaulted by Swalwell in a West Hollywood hotel room back in 2018.
Give them the names and contact info for witnesses. There are a few locations that were involved. Lana's going to go drive by and look at a place, say, okay, yeah, I just want to confirm that is the place, right? So she's doing everything she can to be helpful, and that's exactly what an accuser should do of any kind of a crime.
Lana Drews publicly described the incident Tuesday, says she believes she was drugged by Swalwell before the alleged assault. The White House says Democrats must have known about the despicable behavior of Swalwell. Here's more from Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
I hope that the journalists in this room will do their jobs, and the journalists on Capitol Hill will do their jobs to ask Democrats in power how they knew about such despicable behavior from one of their elected representatives for so long, but never said or did anything about it.
Yeah, the White House press secretary pushing hard, saying that a lot of people knew what was going on.
I think the accusations and allegations against former Representative Swalwell are despicable and disgusting.
513, the top Republican in the Senate, criticizing Vice President J.D. Vance for lecturing Pope Leo.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune spoke to a reporter from Punchbowl News on Wednesday and was asked about the vice president's recent comments about Pope Leo. Vance told a conservative rally on Tuesday that the Pope needs to be careful when he talks about matters of theology in regards to the war in Iran. Senator Thune said theology is the Pope's job and suggested that Vance focus on economic issues and pocketbook issues and let the church be the church. I'm Mark Mayfield.
The Trump administration yesterday touting the tax deductions in the big, beautiful bill. Of course, yesterday was tax day. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was at the White House press room to announce that over 45% of Americans have taken advantage of the no tax on tips and overtime provisions in the bill, and also larger deductions for seniors.
Most importantly, it's been a great tax season for the American people. Thanks to promises made, promises kept, through the working families tax cuts, the president has delivered the record refunds.
Small Business Administration Administrator Kelly Loeffler was also on hand, saying 12 million small businesses have benefited from larger tax cuts this season, have hired more workers.
The Trump administration has issued more refunds and larger refunds than in any year of the history of our country.
Now, it is interesting as Americans receive their tax refunds this spring. Some are seeing a sizable windfall from last year. Others only getting a few $100s difference, and the reasons may be not immediately clear to them. So the president, of course, touted this as the largest tax run season of all time. But what the IRS is reporting is that individual filers who, let's say, made $3,700 or $3,500, got back $3,500 from the IRS last year, will only get $200 or $300 more on average. The average American only get $200 or $300 more from the IRS in that return coming up this spring if you haven't gotten it just yet. And a lot of you just filed at the last minute, of course. All right, in a moment, we're going to tell you about King Charles and Queen Camilla, who are coming stateside for a visit. Will they meet with Epstein victims? That's been the big talk. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. Start out here on the diamond in the Bronx. Jose Caballero laced a 2-run double in the bottom of the ninth inning that gave the Yankees a 5-4 victory over the Angels in the third game of a 4-game series. Aaron Judge hit his third homer of the series, and Trent Grisham had a 2-run single for the Yankees, who won for only the second time in 8 games following an 8-2 start. Austin Wells worked a full count walk against closer Jordan Romano, and both him and Jazz Chisholm were attempting to steal when Caballero lined a 1-2 slider into left center. Chisholm easily scored the tying run, and third base coach Luis Rojas aggressively waved Wells home. Catcher barely beat Nito's relay throw to the plate with a feet-first slide, and the safe call was confirmed after a replay review. So the Yanks, they get another last-second victory over the Angels there. Up next.
That must have been quite exciting because you were sitting in those seats like right on the field to see that play up close. Must have been amazing.
What are you getting at there? So
no,
yeah,
I mean, you had these great seats. I'm just saying, what a night to be at the ballpark.
Now I need to make a split-second decision. Now you're putting me on the spot. So now I need to decide if I want to lie for the rest of my life.
You didn't go to the game?
No. We had a morning show we had to get to. So, Sidney Rosenberg, and his beautiful wife Danielle, and his son Gabriel, and me as well were sitting there in the 7th inning.
That must have been incredible. It was like the third plate, they were waving him down to, run to home and score that winning run. You must have been going crazy at the ballpark.
Yeah, we were. No, we were going nuts.
Okay.
Yeah. We were going crazy. Just booze flying everywhere.
Right. Okay.
We went out afterwards to the nightclub.
Celebrated.
We partied all night long.
What's that the name of that bar that everybody goes to? Right?
Billy's. Yeah,
Billy's. Right.
Gabe was doing, Gabe was doing crowd surfing in the big crowd there at Billy's. Yeah. So it was really just a swell old time.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
I'm sure you are. Up next for the Yankees, Max Fried will start this afternoon series finale against the Angels. First pitch is scheduled for 1:35 p.m. from the Bronx. In Los Angeles, Mets lost 8-2 to the Dodgers. Good for their 8th straight loss and 2nd straight series sweep. They managed 5 hits playing their 11th game without injured slugger Juan Soto. They were outscored 14-4 in the series. Up next for the Mets, Kodai Senga will start tomorrow's series opener in Chicago against the Cubs. Head to NBA play-in action out in Philadelphia. 76ers beat the Magic 109-97. Philly secures the number 7 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs, moving on to a first-round series that begins Sunday at 2 seed Boston. And out in Los Angeles, the Warriors beat the Clippers 126-121. So the Warriors advance. They'll travel to face Phoenix tomorrow, with the winner moving on to face defending champion Oklahoma City in the first round. That is your Sports Noah, man. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 519. King Charles, Queen Camilla will not meet with Jeffrey Epstein victims during their visit to the U.S. at the end of this month. Royal author Alexander Larman says the situation is just complicated since Charles's brother, the former Prince Andrew, is under investigation in the UK over his ties to the convicted sex offender.
So it might be seen that if the King and Queen meet Epstein's victims, they would be seen as implicitly offering further commentary on Andrew. And that's the last thing we want to be doing at this moment.
While the investigation is focusing on whether Andrew passed on confidential information to Epstein during his time as the UK trade envoy, Andrew was also accused of sex abuse by Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre. They settled out of court before her death, and Andrew has now been stripped of his royal title.
It's all about optics, isn't it? And the optics are, should the King and Queen be seen to be allying themselves with Epstein's victims? And would this in turn affect Andrew Mountbatten Windsor? He consorted with Epstein. He's obviously very much the man of the moment when it comes to these things.
And the King and Queen are visiting at a moment where the relations between the U.S. and Britain are a little strained over the war in Iran.
It's not expected this is going to be a big political breakthrough in terms of anything that happens. It's going to be very much a kind of a ceremonial event. It's going to be something that's going to be symbolic rather than going to be diplomatic. But the soft power of the British monarchy cannot be underestimated. After Donald Trump's state visit to Britain last year was very successful, there's going to be a real hope that this is going to smooth waters and actually, to a large extent, reset the special relationship.
And that visit comes the 27th to the 30th. One of those days will be spent right here in New York City. 521. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor issuing an apology now for the comments she made about another member of the court.
On Wednesday, the liberal justice apologized for comments she made about the upbringing of conservative Justice Brett Kavanaugh. The comments during a public appearance last week referenced an opinion Kavanaugh wrote regarding a decision that let federal authorities conduct immigration sweeps in the area surrounding Los Angeles. Sotomayor reportedly said Kavanaugh's parents were professionals and he likely didn't know anyone who works by the hour. In that decision, Kavanaugh was part of the majority, while Sotomayor dissented. I'm Mark Mayfield.
White House revealing more plans for President Trump's proposed triumphal arch near the Arlington National Cemetery. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt showing reporters yesterday renderings of this white 250-foot tall arch topped with a gilded Lady Liberty statue and the words "One Nation Under God." They want to put this up right at Arlington National Cemetery.
The United States Triumphal Arch will be outfitted with beautiful artwork and depictions celebrating celebrating the success of the American people over our 250-year history and the enduring triumph of the American spirit.
Levitt says it's the president's way of honoring the U.S.'s 250th anniversary. Plans are being submitted later today.
Long after everyone in this room is gone, our children and grandchildren will remain inspired by this national monument. Beginning construction this year on the architectural arc is a fitting way to commemorate the 250th anniversary of American independence. Great nations build beautiful structures that cultivate national pride and love of country, and this triumphal arc should be a project that all Americans of all political persuasions can support.
523. New York City jury has found Live Nation and its subsidiary Ticketmaster guilty in a high-stakes antitrust trial.
The initial 2024 complaint claimed that Live Nation monopolized the industry by controlling ticketing, concert booking, venues, and promotions. The suit alleged that Live Nation engaged in anti-competitive conduct, causing fans to pay higher fees, giving artists fewer options for touring, and coercing venues to use Ticketmaster. Live Nation has denied monopoly allegations, describing itself as a fierce competitor. A Manhattan jury disagreed, delivering its guilty verdict Wednesday afternoon. I'm Sarah Lee Kessler.
Arizona Senator Mark Kelly says he still hasn't decided on a possible run for the White House in 2028.
Well, the first part, I will make a decision about that, and so far I'm undecided.
He was asked about it at the Semaphore World Economy Conference in Washington yesterday. Kelly has previously signaled that he was seriously considering making a run.
Not your typical, politician. So I come from this from a different perspective than most people in this job.
Lawmakers, one of several Democrats weighing the possibility of a White House campaign. Of course, you have Gavin Newsom and former Vice President Kamala Harris, who said that she's thinking about it as well. Roblox is coming out with new kids accounts that have censored content and have the chat turned off.
The hugely popular game app has been subject to numerous lawsuits over allegedly not doing enough to protect children from harmful content. The new Roblox kids accounts will debut in June, and all users under age 9 will automatically be assigned to one. A third of Roblox users are under the age of 13. I'm at Mattinson.
524, a Colorado interstate back open today after just this massive pileup involving 75 cars and trucks caused major delays near a ski area there.
Just a chain reaction. I saw cars in front of me stopped, and then I saw them hitting each other, and then after that, we just dominoed.
I was once in a chain reaction crash in Pennsylvania. It involved 10 cars. That was intense. I can't even imagine 75 cars.
I can hardly walk on that side of the road because the road is so jammed up with vehicles. Like, you can't even get your body through, right? Like look at, there's 3 vehicles like just jammed together, 4 vehicles, 5 vehicles with that pickup truck.
8 people were taken to the hospital, including one with serious injuries. Most people say they're just happy to have walked away from this thing.
When I got hit the first time and then the second time, I just started praying to Jesus, take care of me and keep me safe, and he did.
And apparently that worked. And in California, speaking of crashes, no serious injuries after a Corvette flew off Highway 60, crashed into a Maserati dealership. This driver saw it.
They flew off the freeway, jumping across about 4 lanes, and then flipping, doing multiple flips, and then pretty much crashing into the dealership.
It was in Industry City. The driver, passenger, they walked away.
Corvette and another vehicle were both racing, driving recklessly. They ended up sideswiping me at probably, I want to say, well over 110 miles an hour. Yep. Instantly pretty much felt the impact.
And that Maserati dealership is quite messed up. Iran says it will take part in this summer's World Cup here in the U.S.
That's according to FIFA President Gianni Infantino, who made the comment on CNBC's Invest in America forum. The Iranians' participation in the soccer tournament has been in question since the start of the war with the U.S. and Israel. Iranian government officials had requested that the team's matches be moved out of the U.S., but that proposal was rejected by FIFA. The World Cup is set to start on June 11th. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, April 16th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Clouds this morning, sunshine this afternoon. The high going to be 89. Tonight and overnight, partly cloudy. cloudy, low 67. And then Friday, sun and clouds, high 79. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 69 cloudy, New Rochelle up in Westchester. It's 70 and cloudy in Patterson over in New Jersey. And it's 72 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time, 5:40. 2 NYPD officers on modified duty this morning as the department's internal affairs investigates a video that has been called disturbing and upsetting. It was taken Tuesday afternoon inside a liquor store in Cobble Hill. It shows these 2 NYPD narcotics detectives doing battle with an unnamed man. The man crashes into a shelf that's stacked with wine bottles as the officers kept throwing punches, and at one point an officer kicks this individual. This witness who shot the video says the man was cuffed. The officer was wearing a hat in the video but continued to punch this guy, press his knee against the man's face with his full weight.
The officers did not say we're NYPD. They didn't say that we're detectives. They didn't tell him you're under arrest, put your hands behind your back. They just started hitting him. The guy, I can hear him say, "Wait, what's going on?" So as soon as I heard that, I looked and I started recording immediately. He got cut with those glass bottles. They dragged him in glass. They dragged him in the glass.
Now, the NYPD says these undercover detectives had just witnessed a narcotics purchase of crack cocaine, and the man in the turquoise hat, white shirt, and green shorts fit the description of the person they were looking for. But it ended up they had the wrong man. No drugs were found during a police search. He was issued a desk appearance. The Brooklyn District Attorney's Office already dismissing the charges against this individual. Here was Police Commissioner Tisch talking about the video. She saw it too.
This matter is under internal review by our Internal Affairs Bureau, and we'll have more to say about it as that investigation unfolds. But I understand the community interest in it because it is an upsetting video.
But the Detectives Endowments Association president says he wants the facts before anyone rushes to judgment. He says narcotic detectives arrest you and tell you to put your hands behind your back. But this guy did not comply. Even if he had complied, maybe there had been a different ending. But one witness says she claims the man was never given that option.
The officers are saying he's resisting arrest. From what I saw, if you're getting hit, if you're getting attacked like that, there's no way you're going to be able to go like this. You're going to block your body from getting attacked.
Now, what we found from so many of these incidents where it's on video, the truth takes a little while to play itself out. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story. 543, the union representing thousands of residential building workers voted yes to authorize a strike last night. 34,000 doormen, supers, porters, other workers worth 32 BJ could walk off the job as soon as next Tuesday, impacting about 1 million New Yorkers across thousands of buildings. Ahead of the vote, more than 1,000 residential building workers rallied along Park Avenue on the Upper East Side yesterday. The big sticking points, wages, health care. Under the current 4-year deal, members have full family coverage and do not want to contribute money to the plan. But the Realty Advisory Board says this is the model that they can't sustain any longer. They say the average door person makes about $62,000 a year, but costs employers about $112,000, partly because of health care. But here's a doorman who says, no, I want to continue to get the same benefits I've always got.
I don't want to hear a millionaire cry. I'm sorry. I really don't want to hear that. You want to take our health care. You want to split us, divide and conquer. You want to make a two-tier work system. Why? Why are you trying to cut corners on us? We don't cut corners with you.
Right now, many of the roughly 1.5 million New Yorkers in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island who would be affected by the job action are coming up with contingency plans. Some of it is just running the building, right? These people run the building, every part of it, from the back end to delivering packages, opening doors. And so now they're all coming up with plans of how they'll do it. The residents themselves will take over those jobs.
They're telling us that there might be a strike and what we're supposed to do, and they'll have somebody here. They'll probably have tenants working the front desk.
Last strike, you have to go back to 1991. It lasted 12 days. In a moment, we'll head over to New Jersey, where it is election day in Governor Mikey Sherrill's district to replace her seat in Congress. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Ellick.
Thank you, Noah Maladen. We'll start out here in the Bronx. Jose Caballero laced a 2-run double in the bottom of the ninth inning that gave the Yankees a 5-4 victory over the Angels in the third game of a 4-game set. Aaron Judge hit his third homer of the series, and Trent Grisham had a 2-run single for the Yanks, who won for only the second time in 8 games following that 8-2 start. Austin Wells worked a full count walk against closer Jordan Romano, and both him and Jazz Chisholm were attempting to steal when Caballero lined a 1-2 slider into left center. Chisholm easily scored the tying run, and third base coach Luis Rojas aggressively waved Wells home. The catcher barely beat Nito's relay throw to the plate with a feet-first slide, and the safe call was confirmed after a replay review. Up next for the Yankees, the ace Max Fried will start this afternoon. Series finale against the Angels. First pitch is scheduled for 1:35 p.m. from the Bronx. In Los Angeles, the Mets lost 8-2 to the Dodgers, good for their 8th straight loss and 2nd straight series sweep. The Mets managed 5 hits, playing their 11th game without injured slugger Juan Soto. They were outscored 14-4 in this series. Up next for the Mets, Kodai Senga will start tomorrow's series opener for a weekend set in Chicago against the Cubs. Head to NBA play-in action out in Philadelphia. 76ers beat the Magic 109-97. Philly secures the number 7 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs, moving on to a first-round series that begins Sunday at 2-seed Boston. In your final from Los Angeles, saw the Warriors beat the Clippers 126-121, so the Warriors advance in the play-in tournament. They'll travel to Phoenix tomorrow, with the winner moving on to face defending champion Oklahoma City in the first round. That is your Sports Know, man. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time, 5:48. Screams from kids in Connecticut prompted police to make a scream arrest.
For some kids in one New London neighborhood, it felt like the slasher flicks had come to life. Someone in a mask like the one worn by the killer in the Scream movie franchise was chasing them with knives. He even acted like he was stabbing the ground before he ran off into the woods. Police blocked off the area and sent up a drone, and before you could go for popcorn, they had arrested a 19-year-old who had a mask and a large knife on him. He's charged with breach of peace, trespass, and a weapons count. I'm Andrew Whitman.
Let's head over to New Jersey, where voters there in one district head to the polls this morning to pick Governor Mikey Sherrill's replacement in Congress. Progressive Analia Mejia is the Democratic nominee. Randolph Mayor Joe Hathaway is the Republican. You'll remember he was on with Sid and Friends in the Morning earlier this week. Sherrill had to relinquish the 11th district seat, of course, after she was elected mayor. Now, here's the two candidates. You can hear what they sound like.
One of my big platforms is to freeze taxes for first-time home buyers. Home ownership in New Jersey is more challenging than ever.
We lost the health care tax credits because of the Republican Party, and now health care costs are up 175% in 1 year. We lost energy tax credits, and that's why energy prices are up.
Mejia's background includes working in Bernie Sanders' campaign, while Hathaway worked for Governor Christie, served as mayor of Randolph. The two talking about what's going on in the Middle East. Hathaway says that Mejia is anti-Semitic and anti-Israel.
It is laudable to fight Hamas and to fight extremism, the indiscriminate bombing of civilians. It is a horror that we should fight against globally.
And the positions that my opponent has taken when it comes to Israel and it comes to the Jewish people of MJ11, I believe is reprehensible.
Yeah, when you hear from the voters, though, they're just talking again about things like affordability.
I'm about to send my son to college in a year. So the price of education's a very big issue for me as well, and healthcare.
Everything's gotten so expensive, and I'm living on a fixed income. And to me, that is the most important issue.
Yeah, so this race may be a preview as both candidates could face off again in the fall, because that's when the full-year term for the House of Representatives is up. 5:51. SantaCon. Do you know SantaCon? That's that charity fundraiser that floods New York City with thousands of inebriated young people, I guess older people too, dressed up in Santa costumes every holiday season. Initially, they used to really be a problem. They'd be throwing up and doing all kinds of wacky things on the streets of New York. But in recent years, they've cleaned it up. And every year they sold it to New York City as the fact that it's a huge fundraiser, that they charge like $10 a ticket for each person that takes part. And they have specific bars at these, it's a bar crawl where these people dressed up as in Santa go to. And then they give millions of dollars to charity. Well, now we come to find out, federal authorities say the person in charge of SantaCon may have been siphoning off a fair amount of the money for himself. Federal authorities say 50-year-old Stefan Pildes donated only a small fraction of the almost $3 million he raised through SantaCon charity events from 2019 to 2024. Here's a prosecutor say he spent the money on.
In reality, he took about half of that money and used it to fund his lifestyle. So things such as his apartment rent, vacations to Las Vegas and Hawaii and Costa Rica. He spent over $100,000 on vacations, what we have alleged. He also renovated a house down at the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, I mean, horrible if true that he'd be stealing money meant for kids' charities. Over $365,000 in lakefront property renovations in New Jersey, $124,000 used to lease a luxury Manhattan apartment, $100,000 in a Costa Rica investment, and nearly $3,000 on a birthday dinner at a Michelin-starred restaurant here in Manhattan. Now, the president of the Secret Santa Claus Project, which gives donations and helps kids celebrate Christmas each year and gets money from this charity, says this is all outrageous.
Money that was allocated for the purpose of helping organizations like us, and we're struggling, and somebody's off, using it for not that purpose.
Yeah, so Pildes claims he received no money for organizing the yearly event, and he says he's done no wrong. 5:53. New Jersey Transit, we told you yesterday how they could surge prices for soccer fans planning to attend any of these FIFA World Cup matches at MetLife Stadium this summer, that the normal ride back and forth from Penn Station to the stadium on game day is $12.90. And New Jersey Transit wants to fleece tourists by charging them $100.
That sounds ridiculous.
I'm not surprised because it's our government. It's what they do. Any chance for more money, they'll take it.
They're trying to raise money, and I get it. It could help their budget, and that overall could help New Jersey Transit.
So they're playing with people, I guess. I mean, I think people are going to pay anyway. That's the caveat here, I guess.
Because they already know that they're going to do the hike. So that's why they just want to kind of keep, the noise down. They want to alert us, but not panic us.
Yeah, so Governor Micah Sherrill getting a lot of pushback over this story. So yesterday she says she inherited the World Cup host agreement because she wasn't governor then, which FIFA absolved of paying for transportation to the matches at MetLife Stadium. So she insists that she's not going to price gouge these tourists who are here for the big game. Instead, she says she's going to make FIFA pay for the back and forth train rides from Penn Station.
Oh, she's going to make them pay.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to Andrew Giuliani on our fine program coming up next, right before Bill O'Reilly in the 8 o'clock hour this morning. We'll find out if the government's going to pay or who's going to pay. But I got to tell you, this Mikey Muhammad Sherrill should be put in prison. What she sold New Jersey, that bill of goods, like she was some moderate Democrat. She is like Mamdani. She's completely insane. And it's nice that she's looking out for the people of Jersey. I get it. This is not exactly one of her worst moments, but she's a lying, thieving. She should be in prison.
WABC News Time, 5:55. You know what's so cool about tax time is we get to see how much people made. One of them, Governor Kathy Hochul and her husband, they made a combined income of almost $2 million last year, nearly 25% more than the $1.5 million they reported last year. While the pair lists Buffalo, New York as their primary residence, the Hochul stated that they spent 12 months in the 5 boroughs, making them subject to the city's state and local income tax rate. The first gentleman, William Hochul, he made most of the money, $1.3 million with this white shoe law firm that he works for. Kathy Hochul, she has the nation's highest paid governor at $250,000 a year. And we'll end in Westchester, where a community there coming together to show support for a pizza shop owner who was targeted and harassed because he's Jewish. A group has been antagonizing Jewish business owner Isaac Garson. Now, this guy is just a Jewish guy who happens to own a pizza parlor, but people have been protesting outside his pizza parlor over what's going on in Israel, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. He doesn't live in Israel, he lives here.
They came in front of my store with the signs picketing, free Palestine, and I said, could you please move? And they said, say free Palestine. I said, I'm not saying free Palestine, I'm saying I want peace in the world. I want simplicity. And they said, and they kept pushing and pushing.
The community of Hastings on the Hudson rallying around Garson now, who says he's still hurt by what the group told him. They said they supported what happened on October 7th, 2023. Of course, the deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust.
It hurt me because, there's so much hatred and anti-Semitism in this world. And, a little town like this is to set aside that you don't think anything like this would happen here. And it does.
So as this video of people protesting outside his pizza parlor circulated, people said, no, it's not going to happen in our town. So tons of people showed up last night to eat pizza at this place.
He's fed all our kids for however long we've been here, right? And there's no way that we as a community are going to let somebody come and harass Isaac for being Isaac.
Now, the mayor of Hastings on the Hudson, we reached out to him. He says there's an ongoing investigation. The interaction recorded, posted online. The mayor says it's another example of people trying to push the limit of what's covered under free speech. So that's why all these people showed up last night.
They may seem small to some people. They really hurt a lot of people, and they're causing pain here.
My faith means so much to me. I just can't let them say, we're going to push you around.
Yeah, so good for those people who showed up last night to support that pizza parlor.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?